Hey guys, Somnus More here. I'm playing Marvel's Avengers, and let's talk about the recent War Table Deep Dive, Hawkeye, Future Imperfect. I'll be playing as Kate Bishop for Hawkeye reasons, because I'm so excited for Clint Barton's DLC to drop on March 18th. But that's besides the point. Let's talk about the War Table. The intro to the War Table was captivating. We open up on a new landscape in the Broken Chimera, or another helicarrier, where we have Lucky the Pizza Dog chowing down on some pizza. The best way to open up anything. Pizza Dog, chowing on pizza, 100% quality. Then we move on to a recap of what's going on in the game, where I feel like they lingered just way too long on the Reassemble campaign. Like, I get that it's your initial campaign, like it's your initial thing to get the game rolling, but there's just no reason to just sit there on the Reassemble. I just feel like that was just unnecessary. They could have kept it quick and short, like their recap of the Avengers Initiative, and also the Taking Aim DLC. Just short to point, and just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. They then went on to tell us that they were capturing everything on the PS5, which was great. Great advertisements for the next gen release, which will also be coming on March 18th with the Hawkeye DLC. And they mentioned that this was Chapter 2 of Season 1, which begs the question, how long is our Season 1? Is Season 1 the quote-unquote AIM season, or the Kree season? If it's AIM, I hope Season 1 is quick. I hope it's only a few chapters, because I do not want to continue playing against aimbots. Just stop it with the aimbots, please. And if it's the Kree, I'm very much excited, and I'm guessing it probably is their season of the Kree, telling us about this invasion and what the Kree's plans are with Earth, what they're studying the Earth for, or whatever, and see where that unfolds. And of course, they're going to introduce Captain Marvel at some point. They then move on to give us like the actual trailer for the DLC. We see Old Man Hawkeye, we see Maestro, these new characters they're giving us, and I'm wondering, Maestro and Old Man Hawkeye, will they be skins that we can have for Hawkeye and Hulk, respectively? It would be very interesting. It would be something new. It would be something to freshen up this marketplace full of a bunch of recolors. And we need more than just recolors in the marketplace. Hands down, if you want to make some money from the skins, give us something good. That's it. Nothing more to it. Maestro seems very, very terrifying in this DLC, and I'm hoping his whatever boss fight they give us with him, I hope it just stands up to what they're giving us with Maestro. Everything, every trailer, every hype behind Maestro needs to be a beast. He needs to be the god level Hulk that they're advertising him as. And then moving on, they show us what seems to be hinting at Lucky's death. The dog seems to die or be in some sort of mortal peril or of some sort. And I hope we get to see him like milling about like different outposts, whether it's the Chimera or the Shield outpost, whatever. I want to continue seeing this dog. He's great. Just put a dog in the game, and everyone will be happy. That's all. And of course, they go on to explain several times throughout the deep dive that they pull a lot from the comics, which is great. But show us that you're doing this. Don't continue telling us, oh yeah, we pulled this from comics, because a lot of their fan base are comic book readers. A lot of people that stick around with this game is because they love Marvel. Not just the MCU movies, but the comics. So you showing us that a lot of this stuff is pulled straight out of the comics, those fans will enjoy it. Those fans will respect it. Whereas if it's just the MCU fans, they don't really care. They're just sitting here asking for MCU skins, which there's nothing wrong with. but you gotta know who you're catering to. So just quit mentioning that it's pulled from the the David Aha My Life as a Weapon comic books, which I appreciate. Like give it one good mention and then move on. Because if you know, then you know. If you don't know, it just doesn't matter to you. All right. And I personally feel with this new landscape, this new place, this new area to fight aimbots again. The Wastelands, I just feel like it's just another open area. We get it. I mean, I think it was Super Rebuild that said, hey, give us some civilians in here. Because, I mean, we're fighting in this one area in New York, and where are the people? Where are the civilians? If you're fighting in New York, New Yorkers are going to be out filming this shit. Hands down. And, I mean, I understand the Wastelands isn't going to have civilians. It's not going to have that many people. Like, I understand that. But I just feel like it's just another area. It's nothing new. That's just how I feel about it. So after their like full trailer of what's inside the DLC, they move on to give us Clint's abilities, Clint's movesets, Clint frickin' Barton. Oh my god, I cannot wait to play him. I loved Kate Bishop. I mean, as much as a lot of people were like, oh, she's not a real Avenger. Ah, she's just a Hawkeye, blah, 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 blah. I loved Kate. Kate was great. After playing Kate, I actually went back and read some of the Young Avengers comics. I went and read the Hawkeye comics that they had mentioned, of course. And I love Kate. Kate, she's different from Clint. As much as people say that they're archers, it's just another archer. They are different. I mean, in the whole teleportation thing, which can be slightly controversial, her character is a very resourceful character. She uses what's around her. I mean, in one of the Young Avengers runs, she's dating Novar, I think his name was Marvel Boy, or something along those lines, and she ends up using some Kree technology just to fight instead of just using normal bows and arrows, which is slightly laughable. And I mean, that's kind of the point of these characters. I mean, it's a comic book. It's something slightly ridiculous. Bow and arrow. It's great. It's ridiculous, but it's great. But instead of using that to fight Kree and Skrulls and stuff, she uses Novar's Kree technology to give her a little bit more of a boost. So her using this AIM teleportation technology, I personally think it goes along with her character. I think it's great. Whereas Clint Barton is more of a grounded person. He sticks to his huge arsenal of arrows, which they pointed out. He has 10 different arrows. Versus Kate's, I believe it was 5 different arrows. Nothing wrong with that. She has her own thing going. But Clint has 10 different arrows. Just let that sit in. This guy has an arsenal. And I think it's perfect. They do mention, though, which I'm slightly confused, that they pulled his melee fighting abilities, the sword, from his Ronin character. But when we open up on the character in this deep dive, we see him fighting with his fists. Which, ow, you're fighting robots with your fists? Hawkeye isn't a superpowered character. But, I mean, I kind of like that difference between him and Kate, that he's fighting with his fists, but then they go on and tell us that he's using a sword. Which I personally feel creates a little bit of confusion, but I expect him to play with just a sword. But I'd like him to fight with his fists a little bit. As much as that's ridiculous, he's a guy with a bow and arrow. His character is slightly ridiculous, and I enjoy that about him. But anyhow, they go on to tell us that his intrinsic defense, which I'm guessing is like the wow, I'm at a loss for words. Where he dodges, sorry. He dodges, and I'm guessing when you perfect dodge, he automatically shoots an arrow at the enemy, which I would love. And his Deadeye gives more damage, because he focuses on an enemy. His Deadeye ability creates more damage. Perfect. His grapple arrow seems to sort of go along the lines of Black Widow's, her transversal, and that intrinsic heavy attack. It seems very similar to that. And I mean, Black Widow and Hawkeye, especially in the MCU, are very buddy-buddy. So it makes sense. It just makes sense for him to have a grapple arrow versus Kate Bishop's teleportation. So you can already see the difference between Kate and Clint. And that's just the first 3 arrows that he's got. He has boomerang arrows in his intrinsic. He has implosion arrows and tripwire arrows, which are great for keeping enemies back, or just keep putting them in a close area to just go in and explode or whatever with your rocket arrows, which seems to be his parry ability. Then he has pulsar arrows, which are a sort of detonation type of arrows. And then he has his assaulter heroic is a night storm. He shoots an arrow up and it rains down arrows. His support heroic is a recovery arrow. And it seems very much on the lines of Kamala Khan's support heroic, where they're both recovery in their support. And I think that's great to have another support character, so to speak. Beautiful. And then his ultimate heroic is the Hunter's Arrow, which seems to be very much like Captain America's Assault Heroic, where he throws that shield and it bounces off of a bunch of enemies. Hawkeye's Hunter's Arrow seems to bounce off of a bunch of enemies. Beautiful, perfect. It seems to incorporate a lot of things going on. Like I had mentioned, Black Widow, Kamala, and Captain America. Not completely original, but it is fresh, it is new, it's a new character. And I'd say he's very, very much different from Kate Bishop, despite them both being archers. Then they show us the skins for Hawkeye, which I thought, the 3 that they showed us, I thought they were great. The classic Hawkeye, the ultimate Hawkeye, and the Ronin. Beautiful. And then they went on to mention listening to fans, which I felt a little cringy at. Show, don't tell. Show that you're listening to fans. Every update, every patch, every DLC, show that you're listening to the fans. Don't just tell them. Telling us that you're listening is kind of counterintuitive to what you're trying to do. Just do it. Just show us. Show us that you're listening. We don't need you to tell us every single deep dive or every single lore table. We're listening to you. Don't worry. Just stop. Just do it. And then of course they give us the date at the end, March 18th, which I feel they failed to mention throughout the war table. They mentioned that March 18th was their next gen release, but they never mentioned throughout the war table that Hawkeye would be coming out March 18th, and I'm guessing that's the reason they put it at the end was to keep you watching their full video. Blah 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 blah. Anyhow, how do you guys feel about the future Imperfect DLC? Are you hyped about it? Are you excited? Or do you feel like this is going to be it for you? Do you think this is the DLC that's going to break the game? It's going to be the end of it. It's just another stale piece of content that they're chugging out, hoping to get our money for. Let me know in the comments, and all of you have a wonderful and great day.